Hello, welcome to the Cozy Harvest Readathon vlog. I am so excited to be sharing this vlog with you all. This was my first Patreon exclusive readathon, so I created a cozy fall themed readathon. I made some prompts, so I wanted to share them with you. The prompts were read a book set in fall, read a book with fall colors on the cover, read a witchy book, read a dark academic book or a thriller, and read a graphic novel or a manga. So without further ado, let's just roll the footage. Hi, it is almost time for the Cozy Harvest Readathon, and I decided I was gonna start a little bit early because why not? It officially starts tomorrow, but I'm going to get a little bit of a head start. I am feeling super fall. I have my blanket right here, super cozy. I also got this adorable little festive throw pillow from Target. It's very soft. I love the material. I'm ready to bring out all my fall pillows from storage. I'm very excited. But I wanted to say for the first prompt, I will be doubling up on a prompt because why not? So for my first read, I'm going to be starting with Gone to See the Riverman by Kristopher, Triana. And this one I've heard is very disturbing. So I'm looking forward to that because I am craving like a disturbing fall read. So I am going to be starting with that. I got the audio and I'm very excited to read it. I've heard amazing things about it. I'm trying to prepare myself though. I hope it's not too traumatizing, you know, just traumatizing enough. But I'm going to be doubling up on this one for fall colors and also set in the fall because when I was Googling around, it looks like it does take place in the fall, and with the cover it definitely looks fallish. So I decided to choose it for these two prompts, so I am very excited to start reading it. I'm going to read it tonight. I'm hoping I'll make a lot of progress, but this one is about a woman and she's obsessed with this serial killer who's in jail, and she basically started corresponding with him. She's like a fan of his. She goes and meets up with him. She writes letters with him regularly, and he tells her that she needs to go get this key and give it to the Riverman, and so she decides to listen to him. I have no idea why she decides to do this. That is wild to me. Honestly, I have no idea why she acts like this in general, like being obsessed with a serial killer. I know people like this exist. It just baffles me. So I'm very intrigued by this one. I'm gonna read some of it and I will let you know my thoughts. And I am just so excited to be doing this readathon, getting in the spirit of fall, and that is all for now. I just got to such a gross part in this book, but I do want to say I'm absolutely sucked in immediately. The atmosphere is perfect for fall also. I wouldn't say it's cozy. I know that this is like a cozy readathon, and we were kind of joking in the Discord that like it's called Cozy Harvest and Gone to See the Riverman is like anything but cozy. But it definitely does take place in fall. It's been confirmed, and it just has a really good vibe for reading in the fall because the main character and her sister are going through the woods. There's dead leaves. It just has that creepy fall atmosphere that I'm really enjoying. And like I said, there's a really gross scene that happened in a cabin, and if you read it, you probably know. So I'm really sucked into this book. There are flashbacks also, and I'm very intrigued in finding out what really happened in the past. So I'm enjoying this a lot. It's really grabbed my attention, and I'm hoping that I can read most of it tonight. Also, something I'm enjoying is the flashbacks are in the form of the letters that she's writing to the man who was in prison. So you're learning about her past through what she was telling someone else. So I find that really interesting. And then the stuff that's happening in the present isn't through letters. So I like that there's two formats in this. I'm only listening to it right now, but I find it really engaging when books are written like this with multiple different ways of telling stories. I really enjoy them. And also I have a very bad feeling. I have a bad feeling of where this book is going, but like in the best of ways. Does that make sense? Like I know it's going to be disturbing because people keep saying it's very disturbing, and I have an idea of maybe what's going to happen, but like I want it to happen because it seems like it's going to be a really good, engaging story. So we'll see as I go on if I like it as much as I'm liking it now, but I immediately fell into the story. I thought it was going to be more of a setup before kind of her leaving and going to see the Riverman, but it happens almost immediately in the story, which I think is really good because this book isn't very long. And sometimes when shorter books take a while with the setup, it just loses my attention. I'm not sucked into the story, but you're sucked into the action from the beginning of this, so I was invested from the very start. Hello, so I just ended my shift at the coffee shop today and I was about to go home, but in all honesty, I had a really hard night last night. My mental health has just been really struggling, and so I was like, I need a little pick-me-up. And so I was like, you know what, it might be time to treat myself. And so I'm stopping at Half Price Books. I'm not having the expectation that I'm for sure gonna buy a book, but I feel like hopefully I'll find something fun in here. And then it's perfect because it just started raining, and that's perfect for the fall coziness vibes. So I'm going to finish my first book of the readathon, which is Gone to See the Riverman, today. I'm definitely gonna finish it because I have kickoff sprints tonight and I'll be reading during that and stuff. I'll probably be working on a puzzle. And also, I don't know if you can hear, but it's raining right now, which that sound is perfect, honestly, for reading. So I'm gonna stop in here and I will be starting sprints pretty soon. So I need to go home and eat before that. I'm not sure what I'm gonna eat yet. Also, oh my gosh, it's literally sunny and raining, which is very weird. I don't know if you can see, but it's like, it's sunny now. What is going on? So the weather is unsure of what is happening, and I kind of relate to that, you know? So I just did sprints for the kickoff for the Cozy Harvest Readathon. They were so much fun. I almost went 5 hours, and I was really productive during them. I made my fall playlist, which was really fun. I made it on Apple Music, so it's harder to share. Spotify shares way easier. So it was so fun making the playlist. I have so much Taylor Swift, of course, because a lot of her songs feel like fall, especially her Evermore and Folklore albums. But also Red, don't forget about Red. And then I have a few songs from Midnights and also one song from Fearless. So I have that. I also have some Hosier, I have some Beatles songs, I have Hotel California because I feel like that just gives me fall vibes. I have a lot of Lana Del Rey, I have Billie Eilish, and that's most of my playlist. So I'm probably also going to make just like an instrumental one because I really love some of the songs from the soundtrack from Wednesday and just some other instrumental things that I could put in there that also feel like fall. So I did that for one of the activity prompts. It was a lot of fun, and now I just have to listen to it. And then I finished Gone to See the Riverman. So I wanted to do more updates, but honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I was so sucked into the story. I just wanted to keep reading. And I read a lot of it last night, but then I finished it today. And let me just tell you about my reading experience, because people are not kidding when they say this is a very disturbing book, and this book wasn't disturbing for the way that I thought a normal extreme, I shouldn't say normal, I mean all extreme horror is different, but it wasn't disturbing in the way of violence so much, which I thought it was going to be. It was disturbing in another way that just made me like, ugh, it just made me feel dirty and disgusting. But like I could not look away because of how gripping the story was and how much I needed to know what was happening. And as you go on, so you have the main character and she's going on this journey basically for the serial killer because she's obsessed with him, and it kind of seems like she's infatuated with him, maybe starting to fall in love with him. and she decides to go on this journey and bring her sister along. She doesn't want to bring her sister. She's her sister's caretaker because her sister was in an accident, and the accident affected her both mentally and physically, so she needs a caretaker. And so her sister is like begging her to go on this journey, and so she reluctantly agrees to bring her sister. And so they're going out in the woods together, and you start learning, like I said, more about the main character's past. And the way I felt about the main character from the beginning to the end just completely shifted. I was not expecting that. I don't think I've ever read a book where my perspective and feelings towards the main character changed so much from the beginning to end of this. It's wild. But this story is haunting, it is disturbing, it's dark, it's bleak, it's sad, it's depressing, but it is so riveting. I just had to keep reading it. I needed to know what was gonna happen. And the atmosphere in this is so good because the author really wrote in a way that is just continually winding the tension up and up and up and up, and you know that something's gonna happen, something horrible is gonna happen, but you're just waiting for it to happen. And it almost made it scarier to read for me. I feel like not that much actually happens in the present, but really you're learning about the past, and it's changing your perspective on the whole situation, on the characters, all of that. You're kind of learning why this woman is obsessed with this serial killer, and the fact that nothing horrific is necessarily happening super fast into the story. I mean, there are things. It's less than what you would expect. And so the fact that stuff is not happening that you're thinking is gonna happen makes it more intense. And the payoff at the end of this book was amazing. Loved the last scene. It was perfect. I think it had to end that way. And some of the imagery when there is gore in this is so good. It's very effective. The more I think about it, the more impressed I am with this book. I think I'm gonna give it a 4.5 star, but honestly, it's leaning kind of towards a 5. I'm gonna do a 4.5 star because there were a few things that I didn't really like in this book, but overall I thought it was a very, very well done book, and I just struggled to like widely recommend this book because I know a lot of people will not like it. A lot of people it'll just be too much for. So if there are certain things that are just too much for you, maybe look up triggers. It's just hard because the specific trigger really does give away a major plot point that you're not expecting. Hello, so it is day 2 of Cozy Harvest Readathon, and today has been such a long day because I taught for so long. I went to the school and I had 8 lessons in a row, and when I teach I don't have any breaks in between them. So I had 8 lessons, and then I had to hurry back home and I taught another lesson, and then I had to leave and drive to another lesson, and then I came back for another lesson, and then I hopped on sprints. So my day was jam-packed of teaching, and I absolutely love teaching. But I was so tired out today that by the end of the day, when it got to reading sprints, I just could not focus on anything. Like my brain had no power at all. I was wiped. And so during reading sprints, I don't even know what I did. I was just like sitting there decompressing after the long day during the sprints. I did make dinner and stuff, but I wasn't as productive during them as I wanted to be. But I did start the quiet tenant after because I thought I would just try to go to bed early, and honestly I should have, but I'm just so used to staying up really late that my body, again, doesn't want to sleep early. And so I ended up picking up the quiet tenant, and this is our buddy read for Patreon, and I was really excited to start this one because I've been hearing really, really good things about it. And basically this one is a thriller. It's a unique thriller, and I'm reading this for read a thriller or a dark academia prompt. And this one's about this serial killer guy, but it's told from the perspective of 3 people in his life, which is very interesting. So it's told apparently from the perspective of his daughter. I haven't gotten to that yet, but it's told from her, she's 13 years old, and then from his girlfriend, and then from one of his victims. And so far it starts with one of his victims, and you're learning how she's been in captivity for many years from this man, and how all of these other victims are dying around her. And she's learning how this guy has killed like so many other women around her, but for some reason he spares her, and she doesn't quite know why. And she's trying to figure that out. And then you're also following this woman who's super infatuated with him. He's basically coming into her bar and she sees him all the time and she's super into him. And so I think they start dating. I only know this because I read the back of the book and it said that. And it said there's a perspective from his girlfriend. And so this book starts out with learning from the girlfriend's perspective and also from the woman who's in captivity. And I am very, very interested by their perspectives, very intrigued. It has a very sad tone though already. It's very dark, obviously, when you're learning about people in captivity who are just being abused by a horrific human being. It's hard to read about. But I am very, very intrigued to see how the situation is going to change, because something just happened, and basically I think all three of these characters are going to interact with each other. So the girlfriend, the girl who's in captivity, and the daughter. I'm very, very interested to see where this one goes. And I read till about chapter 10. I don't have the book physically with me, so I don't know how far into the book that is, but I am hoping to finish it tomorrow and keep reading. I am so annoyed. I was talking about this though during sprints, that I had been using my library card from when I lived in Texas for the past couple years, even after moving away, and I think it finally locked me out of the account. And it sucks because that library had access to Cloud Library, and I'm almost positive that The Year of the Witching was on Cloud Library, but now I lost access, and so I don't have access to the audiobook for my witchy book read for that prompt. And so I probably will just end up caving and getting it on Audible, but I'm not fully sure. I may just have to buy a credit, which I don't love doing, but I just know I'm not going to be able to physically read right now. Just too much stuff is going on. Honestly, my life is sort of crazy right now, and I'm needing to go down another day in work, and I'm just in a transitional phase right now, so I'm kind of adjusting to everything, but that's besides the point. I wanted to hop on here and just give you guys an update on my reading, and I am going to print off the coloring page tomorrow too, because I really want to color it. I am excited. I had a lot of fun making the coloring page, and maybe I'll look up a recipe for a spooky treat. Hello, I am popping on to give you all an update of my reading of The Quiet Tenant. And I'm sitting on the floor by my bookshelf, I'm chilling. I actually made my fall treat tonight. It was an oatmeal cookie. It was good. It wasn't amazing though, because I'm trying to eat healthier, so I looked up like healthy cookie recipe, which of course, you know, it's not going to taste as good, but I ended up putting some pumpkin whipped cream on it and it made it very delicious. So that made it taste very good. I also got these like pumpkin cookie cutters from the store. I went to Michael's earlier with my husband and we got some leaf decorations, which was really fun because I still can't find my lights. And then we got those cookie cutters. So I was able to do that tonight. I've also been just like hanging out today. I had to teach a lesson. I also had to work, and I've been watching some Vanderpump Rules, where I think we're just finishing season 4 of it. So it's finally gonna be time to read, but I wanted to give you all my thoughts about this book so far. So I listened to some of it on my way to the violin lesson I was teaching yesterday, and I think when I was explaining it in the beginning, I just gave the synopsis. So obviously more has happened. So basically, like I said before, this is told from the perspective of the serial killer's girlfriend, his daughter, and the person he's holding captive currently. So the person he had currently had been held captive for years from him, and she was kept out in this barn, and he would go visit her. She was left alone out there, but the man's wife died. So basically she was talking to him and said, hey, you can keep me with you. So she ends up moving in to the new house with him and his daughter. And obviously his daughter has no idea. And also you're getting the perspective of this woman who's going to become his girlfriend. And so she's super infatuated with him, and you're learning about how he has this like reputation in the town for being this awesome guy. And it's just super scary. It got me thinking a lot about serial killers like Ted Bundy, who are like very charming on the outside, no one would have ever guessed, and they have a girlfriend, they have a wife, and they have a kid, but like they're these monsters, and it's just wild to think about. And I am just fascinated by this story. It is very sad, it's very depressing, but it's keeping me gripped, and I want to know what's happening. And it's so interesting seeing her interactions with the daughter and how she has to just pretend to be this roommate. He said, you are just pretending to be a roommate, so the daughter just thinks she's staying at their house so they can make a little extra money. So all of that stuff was on the back of the book, so I'm not giving away any spoilers, but I wanted to let you guys know some more information about it and my thoughts so far. I'm hoping to finish it, if not tonight, then for sure tomorrow, because actually tomorrow is the last day of the readathon, so I need to read a graphic novel by the end of the readathon. And I'm not sure if I'm going to get to reading a witchy book, just because this week has been very, very busy. I started back up with school and all of that stuff. Not me going to school, but me teaching. So that's my update for now, and I will let you all know what I think of it once I finish it. Hello, so I wanted to share my last read for the readathon, and it was Sheets. It's a graphic novel, and I read this one actually a day after the readathon ended, but I decided to extend it because I really wanted to read this one, and it was just perfect for the readathon because it is a graphic novel, which was one of the prompts, and also it's just a cute little ghost graphic novel, and one of my patrons, Vanessa, sent it to me, which was so kind of her. So I read it, and this one is about a girl who, unfortunately, her mother has passed away, and she has taken over the family business that's a laundromat, and so she works there, but then something ends up happening, and she runs into a ghost. And so this obviously is kind of sad because it deals with grief, and the girl just feels really alone and lonely and all of that, but the artwork in it is fantastic. I loved the cute little ghost aspect of it, how this ghost starts interacting with her, and it talks about how the ghosts don't have physical form. They fill up sheets, so if their sheet is lost, they lose kind of their identity. So I thought that was really cute and creative, so I like that a lot. I thought it had, like I said, beautiful artwork, and it was just a perfect read for this time of year. I actually started watching Wednesday, which is one of my favorite fall TV shows, which is one of the prompts as well. And it was just so fun to start watching it. And then I actually had it on while I was reading this graphic novel. And I usually don't have shows on while I'm reading. It's difficult for me to pay attention while the TV is on, but somehow I was able to do it for this, and it set a really good ambiance, and it was just really fun having it on. So I'm gonna have to keep watching the show again. It's a rewatch. I watched it last year and I loved it, but that's a wrap for the readathon. I had a blast doing this readathon. It was so much fun. I will kind of do a wrap up of everything I read and my final thoughts and all of that soon. but I just wanted to pop on here and let you all know that I did indeed read a graphic novel. I'm coming in with an official wrap up of what I read for the readathon. So I read Gone to See the Riverman, and this one I read for set in fall and also fall colors on the cover. It definitely fits this prompt really, really well. This one I rated 4.5 stars. I am so happy I started off the readathon with such a good read. I really, really enjoyed my time reading it. I was highly disturbed, and I'm glad I read this one because I had had my eyes on it for a while and I just hadn't picked it up. The next book was The Quiet Tenant, and this one I read for the thriller and also for the buddy read for Patreon, and it was such a good time discussing this one with you all who had read it already. This one I'm settling on a 3.5 star rating. I liked it, but there was some stuff to be desired. I wanted more from it, especially the end. I really, really hope that a sequel happens because there was too many unanswered questions at the end. So this one I am giving 3.5 stars. And then the last book I read was Sheets for the graphic novel. So I feel like I did pretty well, especially given the fact that I've been very, very busy. I did all the prompts but the witchy prompt. I'm kind of bummed about that because I really wanted to get to the Year of the Witching, but my hold from Libby came in a few days ago, so hopefully I will be reading that very, very soon. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you watched the whole thing, please leave a leaf emoji, and I will talk to you all very soon. Bye.